Hey, Joe here from Home Studio Corner. I'm going to keep this quick today. I've got a quick thought for you, and then I could use a favor. I'll talk about that in just a second. So I've been making videos here on YouTube for almost 10 years, and I've been making music for much longer than that. And one thing I've noticed is when you create something, whether you're creating music to be listened to by other people, or you're working on music for a client and they're the artist and they're going to have people listen to it, or you're making content and videos, there's a piece of that where you've just got to make something and put it out there to the world and see what happens. And that can be terrifying. But if you do that enough, you start to see patterns. For example, a song that you love might not be very popular, and then one that you don't think much about ends up being the one people listen to and request the most. It can be super frustrating, but it's also really insightful and helps you get an insight into the things that you're doing that really connect with people. I'm a big fan of good ideas, just like I'm a big fan of good songs, and you can do all the tactics in the world, right? You can become an amazing recording engineer, producer, mix engineer, but if the song itself isn't that great, the rest of the process is going to make it better. But I mean, if you start with a good song, you're starting on the right foot, right? I feel the same way about life and business and things like that. YouTube and when I run my own business, a lot of it comes down to a good idea. If it's a good idea, all the tactics will help, but great tactics piled on top of a bad idea doesn't matter. Okay, so what does all this have to do with you? Whether you're just starting out making music or you've been making music for longer than I have and you're just looking for kind of the next thing, look at the way people are responding to what you're doing. Steve Martin, great comedian. If you haven't read his autobiography, it's really good. He talks about how he almost turned his stand-up routine into, it was almost scientific. Here's the jokes I'm going to do. And he would document, okay, they didn't laugh at this one, I did this one differently, and it got more of a laugh than it did last night. And it became this almost science experiment. And you might think, well, that's not creative, but it is. He's honing his art to make it into what works best for the audience. And that's not to say that you need to drop what you're doing and just bow down to whatever anyone says you need to do. That's not what I'm talking about. You need to stay true to yourself. You need to push yourself. You need to create the music and the art that you were meant to create. But as you're doing that, certain pieces of those art are going to work better. Certain videos that I make just connect more and get more views than others. And oftentimes, before I post the video, I could say, you know, I have no clue how this is going to do, and I have to just put it out there and see what happens. It's the same with music and art. You may not know which piece of art that you create next is going to be a big hit, whatever big hit looks like for you. So you have to keep making the music, but then you have to have the ability and the willingness to listen to the feedback. It doesn't mean you have to go read all the trolling comments and get caught up in that, but it does mean you need to pay attention. And paying attention can be painful, or it can, if it's not painful, it can at least give you, redirect your intentions for the next project. For example, I've got a lot of stuff I'm thinking about for the end of this year and next year for Home Studio Corner. But and I've got ideas of stuff that I want to make, a couple of courses I want to make, video ideas and things like that. But I want your feedback, and I want to know which of those ideas excites you the most, because that's going to be better for you, better for me, better for everybody if I'm making the things that you want me to make, right? So the whole point of all this is to get you thinking about how this relates to you and your music, but also I'd love your feedback. I've set up a really quick survey. It has 3 questions. It'll take you less than 60 seconds to fill out, but I'd love to get your feedback on some ideas that I have for moving forward for Home Studio Corner. One of the things I can be guilty of is getting in a rut of doing the same thing over and over and over, and kind of, because that's safe and there's not a lot of risk there. But I want to take bigger risks. I want to try new things. I want to improve myself and what I'm doing in Home Studio Corner so that it can be a better experience for you and everybody gets better as a result, okay? So if you would go to homestudiocorner.com/survey and fill out that survey really quick, a week from, I think it's today, I'll choose one of the people who fill it out and give you a $100 Sweetwater gift card as a thank you. So you have a chance to win, and it would really be helpful to me. So the link is below. Go fill it out for me. Pretty please. Thanks. See ya.